In today's video, we're going to be looking at the confirmation of an absolutely huge RPG, and it's coming out of an IP that I don't think a lot of gamers were expecting an RPG out of, but the trailer has been released and it is shaping up pretty nicely. Also, while Marvel Spider-Man's DLC has wrapped up, Insomniac continues to update the game, and it is getting two fantastic new suits today. Media Molecule also gives an update on the Dreams PS4 beta, and if you've been following the NDA, you no longer have to, as it has been lifted, so that is great for those of you that want to stream, share, and talk about everything that's going on in the beta. Also, we have an update on Resident Evil 2 and whether or not there will be more games in the series remade. That's something I know I would love to see. In Heart Machine, the dev studio behind Hyper Light Drifter, a terrific game, is working on a brand new game, and they're hiring for that game. And then we'll be rounding out the video by taking a look at some great PlayStation 4 game deals that are available right now. More on that at the end of this video. First up, Dragon Ball game Project Z, an action RPG being developed by CyberConnect 2, is coming to the PlayStation 4 in 2019. Yes, it's a Dragon Ball RPG, and I know a lot of you guys might not be sold on it right away, but looking at the trailer, it is looking pretty good. Now, I do have to note, based on the trailer, it does look like the game will be wrapping up at around the Frieza arc. That's what I would expect, because if you go back, when was the last time Dragon Ball had a really big RPG franchise? It was the Dragon Ball Legacy of Goku series, and Legacy of Goku was broken into 3 games. 1 game for the Frieza arc, 1 game for the Cell arc, and then 1 game for the Buu arc. I imagine that's going to be what they're going for here. It would be interesting to see how this is going to translate into an action RPG. Can you flesh out all the content? Can you offer engaging side content? These are a lot of questions that have to be answered, and we didn't get a lot of gameplay footage, but what we saw looked rather good. Here's an overview of the game coming from Bandai Namco. Quote, in this epic retelling, Dragon Ball fans will be able to play through the legendary adventures of the Saiyan named Kakarot, better known as Goku, recounting the beloved story of Dragon Ball Z like never before. Players will experience Goku's quest for power, his thirst for a challenge, and above all else, his desire to protect Earth from the most fearsome of villains. The game, with the full title to be announced, will launch in 2019, featuring both Japanese and English voiceovers. Now, the part about me saying that the game would only encompass the Frieza arc, I imagine the beginning of Dragon Ball Z to the Frieza arc, that's just my speculation. That's what I would think, because right now it seems like the hype surrounding this game is quite high. I'm sure when Bandai Namco gave the greenlit for this game, they thought, hey, we could probably release this in a multi-game part series. I mean, from a business standpoint, it makes all the sense in the world. If you could fully retell the entirety of Goku's story from beginning to end, or just the entirety of Z, you don't even have to touch Super, that would be great. Then if you make it the entirety of Z, you're talking about a lot of content if you really want to hit everything. Even just looking at what CyberConnect 2 did with the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games, they were segmented part to part, but this is being promoted as an action RPG. It's not a fighting game like Ultimate Ninja Storm. It is first and foremost an action RPG, so there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding what's actually going on with this game, but I'm expecting something really good. CyberConnect 2 is incredibly talented, and it's great to see a Dragon Ball RPG. The Legacy of Goku games were awesome, but they were all the way back on the Game Boy Advance, so great to see this on the PS4. It's coming 2019. No official release window, but I imagine it'll be happening sometime in the fall. Moving on from that, while Marvel Spider-Man has wrapped up all of its downloadable content with The City That Never Sleeps, Insomniac is still releasing more content for the game. In actuality, 2 new suits have dropped today. We got a very funny suit in the bombastic Bagman suit, and then a pretty cool suit in the Future Foundation suit. Now look, even if you have no desire to equip these suits, the thing is, Insomniac has been very committed to this game. This is a single player experience. They could have sold Marvel Spider-Man and called it a day, and yes, I know that they released The City That Never Sleeps as DLC, and you did have to pay for that, and I wasn't a big fan of that. However, they've released so much free downloadable content where a lot of other studios and publishers, they would have piecemealed that all together or put all of that content behind the season pass. But a lot of the content, it's been absolutely free, so that's great to see. Look at what Shadow of the Tomb Raider did with all of its content. That season pass to me was atrocious. Marvel Spider-Man, on the other hand, had a palatable season pass, and they've offered so much content over the last few months that this is the way that games should be done. If you need to release a season pass, at the same time, offer games some longevity with their games by adding other pieces of content. And Insomniac has absolutely nailed that, and again, the bombastic Bagman suit and the Future Foundation suit are both available today. Also, if you've been taking part in the Dreams PlayStation 4 Creator Beta, there's some good news for you. The NDA has officially lifted, and now you can stream the game, share the game, and talk about what you've been creating. We've seen some absolutely insane stuff come out of Dreams. Somebody recreated the opening sequence of Dead Space, and that looked pretty incredible. There is a lot of potential to this game. The potential of this game I really needed to see realized before I got overly excited about the game, but it's Media Molecule. Look at what they did for Little Big Planet. Little Big Planet was a game with essentially infinite longevity, and I do see Dreams being very similar to that. This game has been in development for a very long time. I'm sure Media Molecule wants to deliver when they release it. And at this point, I'm expecting something really great out of Dreams. I can't wait to get my hands on it. It does look like it'll come sometime in the spring. Maybe this will be a game that ends up getting pushed to the summer or the fall, whatever the case may be. I just know this is a game that a lot of gamers are building anticipation for, and that's great to see, because generally speaking, it's not like Media Molecule is one of those recognized brands in the PlayStation ecosystem. You look at a Naughty Dog, a Guerrilla Games, or even Insomniac, who isn't first party. Those are the studios people associate with Sony. Media Molecule has been around for a long time. They've released some great games, and Dreams just looks to add to their repertoire. Moving on from that, Resident Evil 2 has officially been released. It's been getting some stellar reviews, and The Ghost Survivors is coming as a free update to Resident Evil 2 starting February 15th. This explores some what-if stories of the three unfortunate souls who never made it out of Raccoon City: the gun shop owner, the mayor's daughter, and the soldier. Specifically, the three stories are called No Time to Mourn, Runaway, and The Forgotten Soldier. Again, free content coming to RE2 February 15th. That's awesome. And this game, from all indicators we've seen thus far, it is doing it very well sales-wise, and critically, of course, that goes without saying. It's got like a 91 on Metacritic, and I was expecting good reviews for Resident Evil 2. I was not expecting it to break that 90 barrier, but good for Capcom. And that begs the question, is there gonna be more Resident Evil remakes? Well, Capcom is probably open to that possibility with how well the Resident Evil 2 remake did. Specifically speaking, with Japanese publication Game Watch, a producer of Resident Evil 2, talked about the potential of remakes of the other games, specifically Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. While we don't have the exact translation, a rough translation does point towards it will happen as long as fans show demand for it. Given how well Resident Evil 2 is selling, given how well Resident Evil 2 has been received, I think it's a foregone conclusion that at some point they're gonna revisit the older Resident Evil titles and remake those as well. Hell, I would love to see a Resident Evil 4 remake. I know that's a more recent game, and it still kind of holds up from a visual standpoint, but to see that game get the facelift that RE2 did, man, I would be all over that. Resident Evil is such a great IP. Of course, I do want to see a brand new game that can reach the quality standard of Resident Evil 2, but this is an IP that obviously gamers are still invested into, and I think Capcom has finally realized that with the release of the Resident Evil 2, that if they release a good Resident Evil title, gamers will be all over it. Resident Evil 7, a great game, but initially missing some of those iconic Resident Evil games, especially in the promotional material, I do think that hurt the overall success of that title. Still, RE7's a great game, and if you enjoyed RE2, make sure to check out that game as well. Moving on from that, Heart Machine, a studio you guys might not be familiar with. However, they did the excellent Hyper Light Drifter, and they have a brand new game in the works. Specifically, their next game will be made using Unreal Engine 4 and will be a full 3D experience, so a little bit different than Hyper Light Drifter. And the team currently is looking to hire someone, a gameplay engineer, who will be, quote, crafting code for character interactions, NPC interactions, scripted sequences, combat, environmental interactions, and much more. Hyper Light Drifter got massive critical acclaim. A lot of people drew comparisons to games like the older Legend of Zelda titles. It had a wonderful old school art style, but now I'm interested to see what they're working on next, because it does seem to be a little bit more big budget, being a 3D title. I'll keep you guys posted, but it is nice to see that Heart Machine will be sticking around and they've got a new game in the works. And lastly, want to round out this video by taking a look at some solid PS4 game deals available right now coming from Best Buy. They've got Dark Souls Remastered. It is down to $19.99, which is a great price for DS Remastered. I initially thought that $39.99 price point a little bit too high, but now that it's available for $20, if you want to play Dark Souls 1 on the PS4, this is a great way to do so. So check that out. And also, Middle-earth Shadow of War is down to $7.99 at Best Buy. Remember, both of these games, if you have GCU, that'll stack, and you'll get DS Remastered for $16 and Middle-earth Shadow of War for $6 and change. I do not know why this game plummeted in price so quickly. I mean, it's been like 15 months since the game was out, but at $8, you know, $6 and change for GCU subscribers, you hardly ever see games get that cheap. And for a game of the magnitude of Shadow of War, but hey, Monolith has made this game a much better experience than it initially was, and for $6 and change, of course, I'm going to give it a recommendation. And that's going to conclude this video. I am really interested to hear what you guys want out of the Dragon Ball RPG. Do you want it to be like Legacy of Goku, where it's segmented and you want all of those story arcs to be fleshed out? Based on the trailer, you do see early parts of Dragon Ball Z, and then you see it concluding with the Frieza arc. Is that what we're going to see? I wouldn't be all too mad about it if we are going to get multiple games, and each of them are going to be fleshed out. It's being done by CyberConnect 2, and it's hitting the PS4 in 2019. Marvel Spider-Man got some free content today, the bombastic bag suit, and the Future Foundation suit, so check those out. The Dreams PlayStation 4 beta has had its NDA lifted, so you can stream, share, and talk about what you've been making. Resident Evil 2 is getting the Ghost Survivors coming as a free update on February 15th, 3 new what-if stories. So that's really cool, and if you want to see more Resident Evil remakes, make your voices be heard. At this point, with how well RE2 sold, I think our voices have been heard loud and clear. The team behind Hyper Light Drifter and Heart Machine is working on a brand new game, and check out those deals on DS Remastered and Middle-earth Shadow of War. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.